Greetings, travelers. I'm your host, the C-Dot that knows a lot, Dr. Waluigi. Well, folks, if you've read the title, you know that this is my 50th episode, as well as my 3rd-year anniversary. As such, I want to talk about a movie series that is near and dear to my heart, and as I recently finished talking about my top 50 favorite horror films, I want to continue that horror kick with a look at the first in the superior killer doll franchise, Puppet Master. Released in 1989, Puppet Master was the first movie that was made by the company Full Moon Entertainment. The company is owned by legendary filmmaker Charles Band, who many fans of B-movie material will recognize as the owner of Empire Pictures, which was responsible for creating many classic movie franchises including Trancers, Ghoulies, and Reanimator. However, due to some financial troubles, the company was seized by the bank and was shut down in 1987. But in 1988, Charles Band would then open up a new company called Full Moon Entertainment under a partnership with Paramount Pictures till the late 90s. Since then, Charles Band has produced over 200 films and has still continued their flagship series, Puppet Master, with 15 movies in the franchise, including a brand new film based on one of the characters from the 7th film. Puppet Master has had a very long and very interesting legacy. Not only having a long film series, but the series includes several comic books, action figures, replicas, and even an upcoming video game for Steam. This is the franchise that got me into the horror genre, and while the series has had many ups and downs, it's one that I still follow for its likable characters, silly kills, and ridiculous plots. Speaking of which... The movie follows a group of psychics who are brought to an inn by one of their colleagues, who turns out to have committed suicide. From there, the psychics stay to bury their friend and are then killed one by the puppets of a sorcerer who died in the late 30s. Can the psychics find the new master of these puppets? And why did their friend kill himself if he had found the secret of the Puppet Master? The movie does have a great cast. Sadly, though, the movie is mostly filled with character actors that have only shown up in random movies. Honestly, the only actor who's in this movie that people would recognize is William Hickey as Andre Toulon, our titular Puppet Master. And he's only in the first 3 minutes of the movie before he gets killed. But the rest of the cast is still pretty good for how scummish they are and how they only want the secrets of the Puppet Master to advance their own personal gain. It just sucks that these actors didn't go anywhere after the early 2000s. Despite the weak cast, this movie does have one thing going for it, and those are the other characters in the movie, the puppets. There are a total of 5 puppets in the first movie. Technically there are 7, but 2 of them don't appear after the first 3 minutes of the movie and have no major roles outside of the comics, so I don't count them. In order of appearance, we have Blade, the scout and flagship character of the franchise, which isn't surprising considering he has the best design out of the original 5 with a trench coat and fedora, a constant creepy smile, knives for eyes, and his signature weapons being a switchblade knife on his right hand and a hook for his left. Blade is probably the reason why I wanted to check out this franchise, as he is the one I just thought looked cool and made him my second favorite puppet. Next, we have Jester, the brains of the group and the most expressive puppet as he can spin his head around to show off his different emotions. Jester is my third favorite puppet for how much he makes me laugh when he reacts to certain situations and how the movie makers use him throughout the series. The third in the group is Pinhead, the muscle and most bland looking out of all the puppets, having a tiny head, black pants, a red sweater, and black fingerless gloves. To me, Pinhead has very few moments where he stands out. He's mostly a brawler type of character that will get the job done, but I feel like the only thing that stands out about him is his oversized body. The fourth puppet is Tunneler, the most unique design of the puppets, who dresses in army man attire, but has a drill on top of his head which he uses to kill his victims with. Tunneler is a rare case in that he does have good moments in the franchise, but he gets little to no screen time in most of the franchise, and I feel like that's unfortunate due to him being the most uniquely designed from the other puppets. And finally, we have Ms. Leech, or who would be later called Leech Woman, the girl of the team who has black hair, purple skin, and a pink dress. Her unique talent is the ability to vomit up leeches onto her victims. If it weren't for how creative the designers made her, Leech Woman would be a completely forgotten character. Unlike Pinhead, the only reason she doesn't stand out from the other puppets is mostly because she isn't on screen that much. It's a shame too, because she feels like a character that worked well in the third movie, being very motherly to the puppets, but also having a deadly power that they would have to utilize at the right time. I do feel like the only reason to check out the film is because of these 5 characters, as they bring to life this franchise. From the special puppeteering and stop-motion effects that were done by the late great David Allen to the amazing set design and costumes. If you want to see some amazing effects that are similar to old Ray Harryhausen and Willis O'Brien, this is definitely one you should check out. If there's one thing that I don't think works well in this movie, it's the pacing. The other Puppet Master films have a similar problem when it comes to the pacing, but this one is the worst of them all. The main issue I have is that while the puppets do some really fun and cool things, it takes a while for them to actually happen. For over half the movie, we get very boring scenes with the characters interacting with the recently widowed wife of their friend, played by Robin Freites. And while her and one of the other psychics, played by Paul Lamette, have great chemistry, it doesn't make these scenes any less boring and slow to sit through. I'll admit, this movie isn't for everyone. A lot of the pacing is a bit off, and the acting, while perfectly serviceable, is still a bit jaded. Though I do still love it for the special effects and the lore that these movies made for the rest of the series. I do still recommend it just for having a creepy atmosphere, memorable kills, and having monsters that have personalities outside of the psychopathic killer or just mindless drones that obey their master. I give the first Puppet Master movie a 6 out of 10. Not the best the series has to offer, but a good start to one of the longest lasting franchises in horror. Well, that's all for now. Tune in next time when the real horror begins. Thanks for watching. I'm Dr. Waluigi, and remember, don't judge a book by its cover, cause you'll never know what's inside. Good night, everyone.